Azalea.
Bye, Grandma.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too.
Love you too.
I love you forever. I like you for always. As long as I live in my grandma will be.
Hi there, welcome. So, this bike packing adventure is a first for me. This is my first ever solo bike packing trip. I am biking on the White Pine Trail, the Fred Meijer White Pine Trail, converted railway into this beautiful path trail. It's designated as a linear state park, and it starts near Comstock, Michigan, and travels all the way up north to my hometown, Cadillac. So, my hometown is mile marker 92, and we have a beautiful trailhead in our city park and dedicated to the White Pine Trail. And so, as you saw at the beginning, I am starting at mile marker number 70. I had my husband and granddaughter drop me off in the town of Ashton, Michigan, and is where I loaded up and jumped on the White Pine Trail. Well, I just made it to my first major intersection. This is Reed City. This is known as the Crossroads, and I can read here, it's called the Diamond Crossing. It's very lovely. Beautiful bathrooms, a covered porch here, picnic tables. There's a fire pit out there with some benches and a little playground, so it's quite lovely. So if you're traveling and bike packing on the White Pine Trail, Reed City has this beautiful rest area here. And it says the intersecting rails forming the diamond are the original rails of the two railroads that intersected at this point in downtown Reed City. The Grand Rapids and Indiana Railroad, the fishing line, reached Reed City from the south in 1870. So this is also a crossroads. Of course, they turned the other rail trail into a trail, railroad line into a trail, and that is the Pere Marquette bike trail. So you have two trails here that intersect where there used to be two major railroads that intersected here. So I just stopped for a quick potty break, stretch my legs. It's only 7.5 miles so far into the ride, but I want to show you everything there is to see along this route that I'm doing today. So Reed City, first stop. I love biking by all the different farmlands and seeing all the different crops. I have no idea what that one is over there. If I was with my friend Benita, she would be able to tell me. I passed a bunch of hay, of course, and corn. And that crop over there are past strawberries, and they're little. You know, and I just no idea, but it's a big field of whatever it is. And speaking of hay, there's a freshly cut field right there. Oh, on both sides. And it's supposed to be dry with no chances of rain for the next 5 days. So the saying goes, make hay while the sun shines. Okay, so I warned you this content was going to be very personal and just sharing a lot of stories. So going by this hay, I had to just share the story. So my friend Benita, they do many things with, and you've seen her in a lot of my content, is a farm girl. She grew up on a farm and she has horses. So she needed some assistance, an extra pair of hands to throw hay bales into her barn. Sure, I'm strong, I can do this. I've never thrown hay bales before, but yeah, I'll come over and help you. If you think you're tough, try throwing hay bales up into a barn. And I am strong, but oh boy, the needed just to grab the hold of them bales and just like tossed them up there like they were just 5-pound bags of sugar. Hi up there. So I just rolled into the little town of Paris, Michigan, and they have constructed and erected a little miniature Eiffel Tower. And right here is a campground. And I know I have seen and read many posts about bike packers camping here while they're bike packing on the White Pine Trail. So you can check that out. I see a ton of tents over here. Paris, Michigan. Campground. You can get your picture because I'll never visit the Eiffel Tower. And Paris, this is as close as this girl's gonna get, so I got my picture with the Eiffel Tower. And there's my first glimpse of the Muskegon River. Hopefully I'll see more of it as I go. There's the Muskegon River. So now I'm rolling into the town of Big Rapids and home of Ferris State University and new home of two of my favorite shops from my hometown. They expanded and opened up a store here, each of them, Threads North and Einstein Cycles. Threads North is in town. I won't be making it a stop there today, but Einstein Cycles is right on the White Pine Trail, I've been told, And that's my pit stop. So I'm looking forward to seeing their new store, taking a lunch break there, and looking around the place. I'll share it with you.
Hello. Hey, Cammy.
Hey.
How are we?
Good. Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
So that was a nice little lunch break. The store is adorable in there. Johnny, he's a very likable fella, and so is Ezra that manages the Cadillac store. And so yeah, my first time visiting their shop there in Big Rapids. And that young fella, Johnny, he bike packed in, oh my gosh, I think it was Thailand last year for months. And to have that opportunity and bravery and the courage to do it is just awesome. And he wants to go back, and I said, do it. Life goes by so fast, and you need to do dreams and goals while you can. And I said, how old are you, Johnny? And he told me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know you hear this all the time, but I swear, I feel like I was your age not very long ago. And here I am, 61, and just don't wait, go. And I told him, I said, I have wasted so many years being afraid. And now, being 61, you don't look at life like with this endless possibility. You start realizing that your window is closing a little bit faster than what we think. I mean, our windows could all close, right? Tomorrow, today. But what I'm trying to get at is that the older you get, you start realizing you don't have the luxury of waiting. And that's why I told myself, Cammy, you can't keep waiting for other people to go with you to do things. You need to find the courage to step out and start doing things alone. Taking baby steps to get out there, out of my comfort zone a little bit more, and just experience, face the fears, and deal with them and learn from them. And that's what I've been doing. And there was a time not very long ago that even biking on the White Pine Trail really was scary to me. I would bike from my hometown to get to Tustin, which is only a 10-mile bike ride. I would just bike as hard as I could, as fast as I could. If I heard a noise in the woods, my heart rate would accelerate, and I would just start biking even faster. I was just terrified. I'd always looking in the woods and listening, and I was on high alert the whole time, and I couldn't relax at all. So I hardly ever did it. And now I'm biking the White Pine Trail all by myself from Cadillac to Howard City. And just doing this by myself is a big step for me. And after I do this is exposure. And then I'll gain confidence from doing this solo. And then I'll be able to venture on to maybe an off-road bike packing adventure and picking back roads that are familiar to me and that I'm comfortable with, and I know the route, and that will be my next step. But for now, I am just embracing this as a huge victory for me and sharing it with others. It's just so hard to talk about, or others to maybe understand fully when they don't have PTSD or fear issues. But for those of us that do, it is very debilitating. It's held me back from so many things I want to do. I watch all these YouTube videos of all these women going out and doing so much and experiencing so much that I just dream of doing, and I just think there's no way I can do that. I would be so scared. And I guess what happened 6 years ago when I really started becoming an outdoors woman, or wanting to so desperately, I just got angry. I just said, I got fed up. And I just remember my one solo hike I tried to do at first, I just stopped and I was just screaming that I am so sick of being scared of everything. And that's when I sought professional help for my PTSD. And it's been a long, hard journey, 6 years, and I've done so much work, and I'm so thankful that I did. It would have been so easy for me to get out there, and I'm telling you, the first few times I'd be out in the woods by myself, even with my dog with me, I would just cry. I'd stop and I'd cry, and I'm like, I can't do this. But I continued putting one foot in front of the other. Now biking is even harder for me to do solo because I don't have my dog with me, Freya. So I don't have that support of her when I'm out on my bike. So that's just makes this hurdle even taller than hiking solo in the woods. So I'll just talk more about just different things that I did and the process that we used to help me with all of this, and some other things that I attribute to being able to do this today. So let's just keep biking. Just rolled into the town of Morley. It's a huge sunflower garden. It looks like a little garden shed is over there. Well, I just rolled into Howard City, my destination city. Now I'm headed out to find my camp. Okay. Goats. I have seen more goats on this trip than I have ever seen. So now I think I have about 7 more miles zigzagging my way to my Hipcamp. And I'm on open roads now, so hopefully there won't be any issues with cars, and I can get there quickly, and I'm tired and hungry and ready to get off this bike saddle. So, here we go. 6 more miles now. Good morning. It's about 7 o'clock. This is my second wake up time. I never sleep in until 7. That's a bonus. So I apologize for not recording a lot last night when I got to camp. Lori, the hostess here, the owner of the Hipcamp, sat by the fire and we had lovely discussions and conversations, and I just decided that was more important, to make that human connection and be present for that, and instead of videoing it. But let me tell you, I had the campfire. We talked. We had a couple beers, and I went to bed. So that's about it. I was going to talk a lot about my day and my feelings and all that stuff, but that's okay. I can do that during the ride today because I really want to sit here and enjoy my coffee and more silence and just be present and take this time to just be alone and enjoy that. So I just wanted to make sure I took the time to say good morning, and I will be talking to you throughout the day, I promise, and showing you more of the beautiful White Pine Trail. Yeah, so good morning. So it's almost noon. I've been on the ride for about 2 hours now, and it's already 83 degrees. That's the other nice thing about the White Pine Trail. I noticed on the way out is that the tree canopy was really thick, so it offered a lot of shade. So that's what I'm going to be very thankful for today as it gets hotter as the afternoon progresses. Now I'm at Paris again. I think I only have 20 miles to go from here. So I'm here by the Paris Park so I can just chill out and relax and eat. I'm gonna have a snack. Cooled down, and it's like 83 degrees out. And checked in with the hubby and told him I'm almost back for pickup. So he's following my dot now. And I also have some licorice. So I need some sugar big time. I have my electrolytes that I mixed up in Big Rapids before I skedaddled. So I'm gonna have a little snack and enjoy this beautiful park And oh, I do want to mention one more thing. So I got to talking to Lori, the hostess at Hipcamp, and I told her about the eyeballs I saw last night, and I told her how they just did not appear to be deer eyeballs, and there was just something different about them, the size of them, the close setness. And she said, oh, it was probably the bear. And I'm like, I was wondering. And she said, yep, the neighbors caught it on his trail cam. And I am glad I didn't know that last night before I went to sleep, because I would not have walked to the outhouse probably, or I would have made more noise actually. But it's funny because I'm thinking it's my headlamp was shining right in their eyes, and he probably was just like wondering what the heck I was, and he just stood there for a minute, and so I probably blinded the thing with my headlamp. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it probably was a bear. So that's interesting, and he just stood there and then gone. So I'm glad I kept my food in my bags, packed away and away from my tent. So I didn't leave anything out. I don't anyway, because that's just the responsible thing to do. Whether you think there's bears or not, there's always them damn raccoons. So they scare me worse than bears, because they will come in. And I've had it happen. Not me personally, but a friend of mine has. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you as well before the dang flies, before I get busy eating. So there you go, the bear. Well, wasn't that fun? Hey, I want to take this time, thanks for watching, but I want to take this time now that I'm home and kind of process through the thing to end the video with some personal field notes. I want to tell you that how I got to where this past weekend, because it's been a lot of work in progress, many years of work. Actually, I did my first bikepacking ever trip in 2019, and here we are, 2025, and I just did my first solo. So what have I been doing these past years? I'm going to tell you what I have. So what I firmly believe in, and what I advocate for and coach others and guide others for through Cami Outdoors, is building a foundation. And really, step number one is immerse yourself in the outdoors. Immerse yourself in the outdoors. Get comfortable with it. Build your confidence with it over time. For me, how did I start? Well, I started hiking and biking and kayaking with friends. My first ever bikepacking trip was with an experienced friend, and he took me out and showed me the gear, suggestions he suggested, bag selection, how to pack my bike properly. I have a strong background of being athletic and a lot of endurance, so that was not a big deal to me. But for someone that's starting off, that's another foundational point that you'll have to build up, is getting comfortable on a bike and just building up your miles. So for me, that was already there. For me, it was bike packing and being immersed in nature. I was terrified of the woods when I first wanted to become an outdoors woman. I have more about that, my story behind myself, behind Cami Outdoors, on my webpage, camioutdoors.com. You can find it back there. So let's get right into it. Build a foundation, and that's what I did. I went bike packing with an experienced person, and I got my hands on that. We did a 2-night, 3-day bike packing, short miles, and I got comfortable bike packing. Now, after that first one, it was a while before I went again because I didn't have anyone else to go with. So until then, what I did was I just kept immersing myself in nature on my bike, overcoming a lot of fears. First, it was doing more rides on the White Pine Trail by myself, and then going out to our local single track trails and biking that by myself over and over again. And every time I did that, I felt my confidence build, and I felt myself becoming more comfortable in the woods. I started hiking more, and then I found a beautiful friend, Benita, that I did a lot of hikes with, and that exposure, being immersed in nature with her, helped with that foundation. Now I can go hiking by myself with Freya, solo hiking. The first truly solo anything I did was kayaking, and I started that again, small steps, building that foundation. I'd go kayaking on the lakes by myself, and then I would go to the river and do an easy stretch of the river by myself where there's a lot of people. Then I would pick a short section of the river and solo paddle, and then. So every time I felt myself get comfortable and gain confidence, I stepped out of my comfort zone. Same thing with hiking, same thing with biking, same thing with snowshoeing, trail running, everything that I do. I did it little steps at a time. And that is how you face and process and gain healing, strength from PTSD, and is exposure therapy. And it has taken me these many years. My first solo anything was I went solo kayaking by myself. I kayaked a stretch of the river, camped at a state forest campground. My husband left an extra car there, so I had an escape. My car was there, and that gave me safety, but I was still solo camping in the campground. I think there was one other person camping in the campground that night. That was a huge stepping stone for me. And since then, me and Benita have done numerous kayak camps. It's one of my favoriteest things to do. And now we not only stay at campgrounds, now we disperse camp along the river. And that was small stepping stones. Every time I disperse camp, I almost would become unhinged with fear. And then over time, and this last year, we dispersed camp in this deep cedar forest, and I was just so calm because I had exposure therapy, because I had built my foundation, and so I was able to camp calmly. Same thing with now this bike packing. So when I did my first bike packing, then in 2019, and then finally I found someone to bike pack with, another woman, Sharon, that you see in all my content. And so with Sharon, I have bike packed numerous times, and we have dispersed camp numerous times, and we go out in the middle of nowhere a lot of times, and it's all about that exposure. And I've always been with a friend, but even if you're with a friend, that is still exposure therapy. That is still building confidence and comfort and loosening the grip of fear. So even if you're with someone, don't think that you're not getting any value out of that, because you indeed are. So flash forward from 2019 to now 2025. I finally said, you know what? I am so loving bike packing and it's time to step out of my comfort zone now. So I decided to do my first ever bikepacking adventure, and I chose the White Pine Trail because it has the element of safety still. And I stayed at a Hipcamp that I already stayed at before. So even though those were still a safety factor, that was enough safety where I felt like I wasn't overwhelmed with the idea of going bikepacking by myself. And so the White Pine Trail is beautiful. You're still immersed in the woods. There was long sections of the trail that I was the only one out there. And I'm telling you, there was not 6-7 years ago, I couldn't even bike on the White Pine Trail by myself. So that in itself is a result of all the foundational work that I've done. And I do more solo mountain biking on trails in my area over the years. Foundational work. So I chose that to do. And same thing, like I said with my kayaking, just over time, foundational work. So what did I walk away from? Well, first of all, another thing that I put in my foundation is that I took bike maintenance classes from our local bike shop. Many bike maintenance classes, repair classes, so I can do basic maintenance on my bike. And so that gave me that confidence that I could take care of my bike, the basics. If I had a major mechanical, then I would probably, hey honey, I'm at, and that's okay. Now, if I went out of the state all by myself, which I really can't see me doing that right now, then I would say, honey, we're going on a trip. You put up camp, I'm going to go biking, and that's okay. So I took the classes, so that was another part of my foundational. And so what did I take away from the weekend? I took away that it wasn't out of my comfort zone enough, which is really awesome in my book, because that tells me that all this work that I've been doing, all this foundational work, all this exposure, and all this work and all these adventures that I've been doing has really paid off. It was not, I hyped it up in my head. Okay. Yep, I got this. It's the White Pine Trail, and I know you're going to be by yourself out there, and you're going to be camping by yourself, even though it's in someone's yard. You're still going to be alone. And you know what? It really was no big deal. And so now I know I need to amp it up a little bit, to get out of my comfort zone just a little. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a giant step. Little steps at a time. And that is why I'm where I'm at now, is because I gave myself grace, I gave myself permission, and enough self-love that I didn't care how long it took to get wherever I was going. I was outdoors. I was doing things that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do 10 years ago. I would have looked at you and thought, you're nuts. There is no way. Now, one thing I probably can sit here and say right now is that I do not believe I will ever disperse camp solo. And that's okay. That's totally fine with me. And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to keep adventuring. And my solo adventures, I'll just make it so that I'm camping someplace where I feel safe and comfortable. And that's fine. There's so much freedom I found in doing it solo. And I love companionship of my friends. I have some really great adventure friends, and I love spending time with them. But it was really empowering to be out there by myself on my own terms. And would I rather solo than with my friends? No. I really enjoy my friends, but it has brought this new sense of freedom where I now know I can go out and adventure solo. And if it doesn't work out for other people's schedules, instead of just sitting around waiting for the opportunity for other people to join me, because you miss out on a lot. I'm 61, and the friends I hang out with are much younger than me, and they're still working full time. Even though I just launched my business, Cami Outdoors, it's not a full time, and this is what I do for it. Guide and coach women to become more comfortable and confident in the great outdoors. So those are my field notes. I hope I covered everything. There's so much more to it, but I don't want to get into it here. I had a fabulous weekend. I hope you enjoyed the footage that I got, and thank you so much for supporting my channel. If anyone has any questions at all about more in-depth details about how I've overcome some of my fears and how I've processed through a lot of my PTSD, just shoot me some comments, or I don't know, maybe I could do another content, a live content answering questions about it, because there's just so much to it. But thank you so much for watching, for supporting my channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. So anyway, check out my webpage if you want more details into who Cami Outdoors really is. And until the next time I go out and adventure, rise up, reach, and reconnect.